This time we're looking at a Nintendo Gameboy Advance SP, and as you can see the screen's not in the best condition. So this is a fairly straightforward swap, no soldering, nothing too difficult. So you've just got to make sure you've got a tri-wing screwdriver to open up the outside and then a crosshead screwdriver for the inside. So fairly simple outside. First things first, remove the battery. You can see there's a little screw under the battery compartment. So these two middle screws are short, the four outer tri-wing screws are longer. So we'll just remove these. So with them out, it all comes apart. That's the first time I've changed the screen on one of these. Doing it by feel really. So inside here we've just got 3 crosshead screws. Fairly small, they just hold the PCB on. Take them off. And then underneath, as you'll see, there's all the buttons that want to drop out and membranes, etc. So again, doing this again, I would probably just tip all this lot out first, because really you just need to remove everything anyway. As you can see, everything's just falling out anyway. There's the speaker, and then the membranes, just got to remove these. Again, I'm just making a note of which way around it goes, but later on when I was reinstalling these, you can see on the inner case there is a little notch where that lines up with anyway, so fairly easy to know which way around it goes. So the next thing is removing the old screen here, and as you can see there is a little clip either side, left and right. You've just got to push that back and be very gentle with this. You don't want this to snap really, so just gently does it and then away it comes. So as you can see, that's it pulled up, and then when we put the new screen in, we'll slide that back under and push that back down again. So to get the actual screen out, we've just got these little rubber bungs in each one of the corners of the screen, and then there are 2 in the middle as well. So again, 6 screws. These are all the same length, but again, these are all tri-wing heads on this one. Now I'm using a metal screwdriver here. Ideally it would have been nicer to use a plastic one. Potentially if you slip with a metal screwdriver, you are going to scratch and cause damage. So with that removed, I can take the back off. And again, just got to angle it slightly so that the back will come off. So right now I've got it fully open. Moving it like that, now I can take that back off nice and easily. Not going to have any breakages or anything. So there, as you can see, the screen is loose. So there's one more screw that needs taking off. That's hidden under the ribbon, and as I just move it out of the way, you can see it there. And again, this is just a little crosshead screw. I say a little, it's quite long compared to the others, so again, keep it separate from the rest so you know what screws go back in what order. So undoing that long screw just releases another part of the casing, a kind of almost like a semi-tube shape which comes off, which then releases the ribbon so you can take the screen off properly. So I'm just giving it a little clean up here. While it's all apart, I can get into all the nooks and crannies and just give it a proper clean. Again, this would be the same procedure if you wanted to change your your casing for a new casing. Exactly the same procedure really, because as you can see, you've pretty much got to take the whole thing apart to put a new screen in. So this is a replacement screen that I found on eBay. So the first part to go on is this small piece of cover, and again you might just have to move the case backwards and forwards a little bit to get it in the right position to get that back in place. We put our long crosshead screw back through. And again, just tighten that up. Going to give the screen a little wipe here. It's not too bad. Again, this is a second-hand screen, but does the job fine. I think it costs like £5-6, so not too bad at all really. Now just get the back of the case on, and again just got to open and close it a little bit to make sure that sits flat. But now I'm just going to put the screws in. I'm not going to put the rubber covers on just in case something's not quite right with it and I need to remove it again. So just putting the speaker back into place along with all the various buttons. So the AB button, there's various formations of the little legs, so they'll only go in one way. So right now I've got that, looks like the right way. So you can see one's kind of like a tri-wing shape and one's almost like a T shape. Then just putting the membranes on the top, making sure they go around the right way. And with the controller one, as you can see, there's a little notch over to the right where that locates. Just putting the ribbon cable back in. Just need to push them down tight. So again, it's a little bit fiddly. You've got to kind of push the ribbon in whilst closing it. And then just make sure it's all the way home as well, because if it's not quite all the way home, you're going to get weird things happening on the screen, like colours are going to be wrong and stuff like that. Again, I had this little square nut which I worked out was actually for the battery compartment, so I just needed to put that back into place and make sure that was all the way home, which it is. And then I'm just going to bend up these speaker connectors just to make sure they're making a good contact with the board. Doesn't hurt. So first thing in that speaker thing is a small piece of mesh, then the speaker goes on and then the board sits on top and the two prongs make a connection. So then just put in the last three small crosshead screws back in to hold the printed circuit board down. Case goes back together, and again the shoulder buttons stayed in, but sometimes they might come apart as well, to just be mindful of that. And the other thing is that on-off switch only goes in one way around, which I found out. Luckily enough, with the printed circuit board in place, you can just take it out and turn it around the other way if you haven't got it round the right way. That's the case all back together. So I just need to put the screws in, and again the two small tri-wing screws in the middle, the four longer ones on the outer edge. And it's very important to get that in the right order, otherwise you will end up with screws going through plastic, which you really don't want. I bought a new battery for this. Again, these are fairly cheap. I think I got a pack of 2 of these batteries for something like, again, £6, so not too bad at all, really. Again, depending on what country you live in, depends on what price you're going to pay for these. And again, this isn't a genuine Nintendo one. This is a reproduction, but probably best at this stage not to go with a genuine Nintendo one, because I imagine they haven't made them for a little while, and you know what you're going to get probably isn't going to last too long anyway. So just screwing that down and we're ready to test. I don't know what happened to the original screen. I'm guessing somebody just thought it was a touch screen and it obviously wasn't.
Okay, moment of truth. All working.
So I'm just testing the controllers out here, just making sure all the buttons are working correctly. Just making sure all the membranes are in place. And everything seems to be correct. So I'm just going to put these little rubber bungs back in. These are the original ones that came out. They weren't too bad. Again, with them, just take your time and just slowly prise them out. Don't try and force them too quickly. They're just stuck on with double-sided tape basically, so just gently. And again, if you can use a plastic-ended device rather than a metal-ended device, again, if you slip, probably even the plastic one's going to leave a little bit of a mark, but not as bad as a metal one would.
Beautiful. Right.
So that's it, all done. Only thing left to do.
One last game. Outreach again.
Let's try an original Game Boy game in there. So with that, nice, sweet and simple, I will see you on the next one.